to progressions, a good starting point in utilising them is to understand exactly where these progressions have come from. Te Mā Taiaho, the New Zealand curriculum, both old and revised, is split into the different curriculum areas. Within each of these curriculum areas are the different levels. Within the new curriculum refresh, these levels are called phases of learning. These phases are consistent across the different curriculum areas. Sitting underneath each of the curriculum levels are the progress outcomes. The purpose of these progress outcomes is to describe what students should understand, know, and do by the end of each curriculum phase. However, these progress outcomes span multiple year levels and require a lot of knowledge and content in order for learners to be successful. Therefore, they have been broken down into smaller pieces. Within the old curriculum, these were called learning indicators. Now, in Te Mā Taiaho, they are called progressions. Within School Talk, there are two different types of progressions. The global progression, which is more like the overarching learning intention, and the granular progression, which are the success criteria. Now that we understand where the progressions have come from, let's unpack the format of the new curriculum. Within Te Mā Taiaho, the refreshed curriculum, in all learning areas, the progressions are split into three different elements: understand, know, and do. But what do these actually mean? Understand is the overarching achievement objective, the big enduring ideas that all ākonga can relate to and access. Whilst these may be used for unit plans and long-term planning, most teachers will not use these on a daily or weekly basis to inform their lesson design. Know is focused on the contexts which enable the illumination of the big ideas and bring them to life. For example, all of the different math strands sit under the know area. This is where the majority of the progressions sit and will be used the most for your planning. In the do element, ākonga develop practices that enable them to think and act as experts within each learning area. This means putting their learning into practice and being able to transfer it across different learning areas. But how can I utilize all of this in my planning? If you're struggling with knowing where to start with teaching with progressions, here's what this could look like in practice. For the sake of this video, I have a brand new class that I am going to be demonstrating with. When it comes to planning, especially at the beginning of the year, teachers start with their long-term plan and decide on the progress outcomes they want to cover in which term. In my syndicate's long-term plan, the progress outcome we are focusing on for term 1 is this one here that talks about recognizing patterns and structures. This can be found underneath the understand area of the progressions, and each progression spans multiple year levels. Therefore, with my year 4 learners, these progressions will be what they focus on for year 4, 5 and 6. So I'm going to use the progress outcome without linking it to my specific School Talk events, as I do not wish learners to upload evidence against it. Now, for my weekly planning. If I've never taught with progressions before, it can be confusing to know where to start. Based on my AO, I want to begin the year with some number activities, in particular, some whole class multiplication activities so that I can get a clear idea of where my learners are and what their next steps might be. Therefore, for my weekly plans, I will need to have the progressions that sit underneath the know element. As you can see, this brings me to all of the math strands. Underneath each strand sits the sub-areas and progressions that my learners are expected to cover. From here, I am able to view and get comfortable with the progressions so that I know what learning my students need. These are the progressions that I will be utilising on a daily basis in my planning, uploading evidence to, and marking off learner achievement for. The progressions that sit underneath the do element, like and understand, span multiple year levels. These progressions can be used if you would like to have specific actions that your learners should be showing they are capable of. For example, coming up with a question for an investigation. It is up to each school what the expectation is around uploading evidence and marking progress against these progressions. I encourage you now to take some time to go through and get comfortable with the new refreshed progressions of Te Mā Taiaho. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your School Talk lead or your school facilitator.